Hi, it's me again. Actually, it's just always gonna be me. You're just stuck with me, but it's me. Um, if you are watching this video, it means you survived the last weeks of material, which is exciting. That's what we want. So I hope the layout is starting to make sense a little bit for the course, and I hope that the flow is not driving you nuts and that it is moving along smoothly. Um, in this set of content, the first thing you might notice is that there's a really long reading assignment, and you are probably a little overwhelmed looking at that. But in a class like nonverbal communication, almost everything builds on foundational knowledge, and these first couple chapters are that foundation. So if we're going to talk about sending and receiving nonverbal signals for the rest of the semester, then it's a really good idea to know what those signals are and what sending them is and what receiving them looks like and things like that. So I know it's sort of daunting, but please power through the readings because they are super important. I also don't give standard, like really long tests in an online course. Instead, I give these little baby reading quizzes. And I have found that your score on the reading quizzes increases significantly if you read the material before you take the quiz. So that is your helpful study tip for today. So the reading quiz shouldn't be too tricky. It's just on those foundational chapters. You'll also turn in your first activity report in this little chunk of material, and obviously in an online class there's no hard copies of anything. I don't want you to mail me your activity report. But do make sure that you're submitting them as a Word document attachment and not in like the submission text, and that way I'm able to give you feedback in the document, and I think that that's an important part of the learning process is feedback. So this week we start to talk about communication, and specifically nonverbal communication, as being universal. And what does that mean, right? If communication is universal, why can't I understand everybody all the time? So I want to start to talk about what it means to be universal in a very compartmentalized world. The other thing that we start to talk about is this type of knowledge. So having this type of knowledge, is that unfair? Like, I've been studying nonverbal communication for years, right? So I hypothetically have a lot of information at my disposal that I could use to manipulate a setting or work something to my advantage or make someone magically fall in love with me. You know, all of those super things. Is that ethical, right? Like, is this knowledge an unfair advantage? And what does it mean for you to have this tool? Is it okay? Should you disclose to people that you know it? Like, let me tell you, telling people on a first date that you're a body language expert, not a great move. I know that because I've done that. It's fine. We also start the CITI program training in this week, and the CITI program is an ethics training. It deals with conducting research with human subjects. And the reason I have you do that is because the world and America has kind of a crappy history of really messing up research with humans. And I think it's important to understand that as a foundation before I send you off to do research with humans, right? So it's important to kind of have that foundation behind you. It also shows you how social science is different than maybe some of the sciences you've studied before. So we talk about hard science versus soft science. And when people hear hard science, they think things like, chemistry and biology. And soft science deals just as much with humans. It, in particular, it deals with human nature. And so I want you to think about the ethics involved with human nature the same way that you would think about ethics involved with conducting laboratory experiments medically, right? When you go to turn this in, and you won't do this right away, you will take a screenshot of your progress on your ethics training, and rather than submitting like a Word document, so that you're only doing half of the training at once and then you'll do half in another section of the course. So I'll discuss that again when we get there. But really, this week I want you to think about kind of that foundational knowledge and the ethics of what goes into the study of humans. So let me know what questions crop up with that, and I will be in touch really soon. Thanks.